This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. It is Monday, August 5th, and it is game week.
How long I've been waiting for this. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Preseason week number 1 for the Washington Commanders is here. And not only do we open up the 2024 preseason with a Saturday afternoon 12 Eastern kickoff at the New York Jets MetLife Stadium, we're going up to New York to take place in joint practices. One of 2 joint practice sessions Washington will be doing this year, and that has me more excited than anything else. Joint practice is the first time your team can really up the ante of training camp. Play with a little more intensity, actually lower the head and deliver a blow with your shoulder pads and actually hit someone outside of your training camp. There have been guys infighting amongst their own teammates all over the league, and it's understandable when you're out there bumping pads in 100-degree weather. But when you mix it up with a team that is not your own, with guys that are not your teammates, it gets real as shit. I'm watching highlight clips today of the Lions and Giants having joint practice. They're going at it. Daniel Jones is mixing it up. They're out there throwing blows. And honestly, I'd be more concerned if teams were not fighting the other team during joint practice. Why not? This is a man's game, barbaric game. You got to let the testosterone flow a little bit in training camp. And you can't do it versus your own guys. Might as well do it when an opposition's colors step on the field. Last year, Washington took place in joint practices with the Baltimore Ravens, and we actually had a good week before our season absolutely shit itself very early on. This is a very interesting opponent Washington is having joint practices with this year. Dan Quinn, while preaching about the idea of joint practices, he says you love it because the guys get some evaluation against different people in different situations. He says this rusher, this defensive front, this look, those are the things that you like when you're seeing a matchup. It's not necessarily scheme related because guys are not game planning for preseason games or joint practices, but it's the looks. It's just seeing it. It's the muscle memory of those things taking place. And for a rookie quarterback, joint practice means the world. Jaden Daniels has checked every box since he's got here this summer. He's checked the boxes at minicamp, OTAs, on the field, off the field, in the classroom, in the film room. He's checking all of the boxes. Now it's time to see what he looks like when another opponent comes, and not just any opponent. This is a top 3 to 5 defense in the league. I'm talking number 3 in yards per game. This is a defense that absolutely locked it up. One of the perennial defensive tackles in the league, Quinnen Williams. A secondary that consists of Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, and one of the better nickels in the league, Michael Carter, with a safety coming off the bench who added like 4 or 5 turnovers last year. Like, this squad is like that defensively. And to be perfectly honest, they are much better than the 4 wins, 7 wins, and 7 wins Robert Saleh has seen since he became the head coach of the New York Jets. And the reason why is because, just like Washington, the Jets are an absolute cursed franchise when it comes to quarterbacks. They have this elite-ass defense. They're going to fuck around and get Robert Saleh fired from this job if something happens to Aaron Rodgers again, because this team is easily a 10 or 11 win team if they can just keep a quarterback on the goddamn field. 2023 New York Jets, they probably had their sights set on 11, 12, possibly 13 wins. You're bringing in old man Aaron Rodgers, still playing at an MVP level. Still coming over from Green Bay, still playing at an MVP level, a championship caliber level. He's coming in to solve all of their QB problems. He is deading all of the ghost of QB's past for New York. They're on Hard Knocks. They're the media NFL darlings all off season. Everybody is in love with Broadway Aaron Rodgers. And then he runs out with the flag on the field for Monday Night Football And before you can get up to grab a drink, his Achilles popped and the guy was out for the year. But in true soapbox conspiracy theorist, hippie Aaron Rodgers fashion, he was threatening and contemplating a comeback after a ruptured Achilles at 39 years old, because you don't get the full Aaron Rodgers experience unless this guy is just absolutely fucking nutty and saying ludicrous, outrageous things. It just comes along with the Aaron Rodgers experience. Well, he tore his Achilles up, and Jets fans and NFL fans worldwide had to watch Zach Wilson in that landfill quarterback room on national TV at least 5 times last year. NFL, we have to work out an expedited flex scheduling process. So if a star quarterback of a football team goes down, we can substitute the primetime game that week. There got to be a way that we could do that, because there is no reason we had to subject ourselves to watching fucking Zach Wilson play primetime 5 or 6 times last year. They won 7 games. They easily are a playoff football team if they even have an average quarterback. Do they have to have an elite quarterback? No, but they have Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers at his big age of 40 is still like that. Him and LeBron James drinking from the same well, still balling, still producing at that age. Let's hope Rodgers makes it through the season, because if Rodgers plays, this is a formidable ass team. Rodgers has weapons. Garrett Wilson, him and Terry McLaurin, handshake emoji. Ohio State receivers who produce with the best of them, despite the fact that they play with ass at the quarterback position. Garrett Wilson, 2 years in the league, 2 years over 70 catches and 1,000 yards. Easily a 12, 13, maybe 1,400-yard contender with a consistent quarterback on the field. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, a two-way running back, and every down running back can kill you with his hands and can kill you on the ground. This is a running back with 70 catches, 600 receiving yards, just under 1,000 yards rushing. Everybody's game is more effective with Rodgers on the field. They have a good tight end, Tyler Conklin. They have pieces all over it, and they spent this entire offseason restructuring the offensive line to protect Aaron Rodgers so we don't have to see a repeat of 2023. And also, they gave up 64 sacks last year. Did a lot of it have to do with quarterback play? Absolutely, because Zach Wilson was just not meant to be an NFL quarterback. Taken with the 2nd overall pick, he's been an absolute disappointment. He is now in Denver, backing up rookie Bo Nix. But the Jets are a really good football team that we have not seen live up to it, because they are held back and a liability at the quarterback position. And they made it a very, very specific thing to go out and not let last year ever happen again. Let's take a look at what the Jets did this offseason so they don't have to ever go into a situation again where if the quarterback goes down, they're just an unwatchable, unserious football team. Free agency, like I told you, they made a concerted effort to go out and protect the quarterback this year. They signed tackle Morgan Moses, old reliable. Washington fans should know him very well. He spent a long time here in Washington. Despite the fact that it felt like he was injury prone, he false started every play, and he was not a perfect right tackle. He has managed to be a very solid tackle in this league, and has started at least 14 games in the past 9 seasons. He's coming in to start for the New York Jets. Guard, John Simpson, another guy, started all 19 games for the Ravens at left guard last year. Protect Rodgers, protect Rodgers, protect Rodgers. And not only they dipped early in the draft at the tackle position as well. So they brought in a starting tackle, a starting guard. Not to mention they already have Elijah Vera Tucker coming off injury as well. They don't want to play the ass backup game no more. They want to be formidable if Rodgers was to go down again. I'm going to knock on wood, because I don't want to see Rodgers go down again. I want the Jets to be a watchable football team. You know what I'm saying? But Tyrod Taylor, if anything, he's the most medium, mid-grade gasoline you can find in this league. Is he going to take your car from Virginia to California? Absolutely not. But he's going to get you to work every day. He's going to get you from point A to B. And if you've been a consistent watcher of my channel, a good backup quarterback is the most reliable donut tire you could ever buy. It's a donut. It's a designer donut tire. Not everybody has it, but if they need it, he can get you by for a little bit. You don't want him playing long stretches ever. You don't ever want backups playing long stretches. And that's the thing with NFL fans. They fall in love with the delusion of backup quarterback. A backup quarterback is supposed to be exactly what it's called, a backup quarterback. And that's what Tyrod Taylor is. He is a backup quarterback extraordinaire. If Rodgers misses time, the Jets will be able to hold up. Saleh brings in one of his former Niners, Javon Kinlaw, after 4 years and failing as a first-round pick in San Francisco. You dip back into the well of a guy you scouted coming out of college. While he disappointed there in San Francisco and was eventually phased out of that lineup, Saleh could make things happen for him in his next stop, kind of like he did with Solomon Thomas there. Isaiah Oliver, depth piece to the cornerback room. That cornerback room is already vicious, man. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter, Isaiah Oliver, depth piece. I love it. They have a great secondary. Tony Adams, Chuck, whatchamacallit? I forgot his name. I forgot his last name. But they have pieces on every part of the secondary. They have a good linebacker core headed by CJ Mosley, who gets 150 tackles in his sleep. They signed a defensive tackle. Oh, and they brought in a prized edge rusher via trade from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's currently playing contract holdout roulette with the Jets right now, Hassan Reddick. So they add Hassan Reddick to go with Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson. This is going to be a very fun test for our offensive line, headed right now by Brandon Coleman at the left tackle. We think Andrew Wiley at the right tackle, but who knows? Tyler Biadasz at center, Cosme at right guard, and Nick Allegretti at left guard, who's been healthier than I thought. He seems like he has the left guard spot on lock right now. And they brought in someone else we know, Tyron Smith, the 100-year-old, always injured wonder, possibly Hall of Fame left tackle from the Cowboys. They brought him in on a 1-year, $20 million deal. So they went all in on the offensive line this year to protect Rodgers. Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, and I forgot the guard's name already. What's the guard's name? I don't know. He's a guard, like Jay Gruden said. They brought in Morgan Moses, Tyron Smith, and John Simpson, not to mention their first-round pick, where we're about to get to already. And they brought in Mike Williams, always injured as well, but a big body threat to go opposite Garrett Wilson. They have no excuses if guys stay healthy over there. But they went all in on the offensive line. This is going to be a good test on the Washington front, on the defensive side, because we know our strength of the team, or it's supposed to have been our strength for the team for a long time, has been the defensive line. And we added to it with Johnny Newton. I'm very curious to see if Johnny Newton even plays in the preseason or in those joint practices. But let's see what the Jets draft class is looking like. Start their draft off by going with the DC boy, Gonzaga alma mater, Olu Fashanu. Remember Washington's season when we were still in the mix, kind of, to not be the first or second overall pick, and we thought we had a quarterback, so we were playing Olu versus Alt season. Well, this is who a lot of people thought early in the process was going to be the best tackle in the class. He ended up being, the third tackle taken in the class. They go with Olu Fashanu. I'm interested to see when I get Richie from Jets Media on how his progress is looking. Is he going to be a starter? Are they going to redshirt him? How they're going to work him into that lineup over there with all the guys they've signed. With Tyron Smith's injury history, he'll probably see his way onto the field at some point this year. But Moses, Tyron Smith, Olu Fashanu, you know what I'm saying? They upgraded that line. Just like he brought in Solomon Thomas and he brought in Javon Kinlaw. He brought in his clone of a receiver he used to know when he was in San Francisco, Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky. That's going to be a guy Aaron Rodgers loves, and that's a guy that offense can utilize in a multitude of ways. Big body with speed running back Braylon Allen, quarterback Jordan Travis from Florida State. That surprised me. That was definitely a surprising pick. They brought in another running back, 2 running backs drafted, Isaiah Davis out of South Dakota State, cornerback Quantez Stiggers out the CFL. I'm seeing people throw around Sauce Gardner profile comps for him, not like as a player, but like in profile. And safety Jalen Key out of Alabama. This Jets roster is pretty good, man. This Jets roster is really good. So this is really good bump and really good smoke for my Washington Commanders. I'm excited to see how we fare versus a team like this, because this is not our team. this is when things step up a little bit. So we have some really interesting position battles that are playing out here in DC right now. How is the wide receiver position going to stack up? So far, it appears we already know the vibes with Terry and Jahan. They're wide receiver 1 and 2. It feels like there's a battle for wide receiver 3 between Olamide Zaccheaus and De'Ami Brown. You know the vibes when De'Ami Brown, summertime De'Ami is a different breed. Summertime De'Ami looks like a very formidable receiver in this league. He looks like he's on pace for 800 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns in the summertime until preseason games start and he drops 2 touchdowns and we're back to square one. Will that continue? I'll be looking very closely at De'Ami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus in these joint practices because the Jets have corners for days. So they got guys all the way until the end of that roster that can lock up receivers. I'm interested to see how the tight end position plays out, the competition between Armani Rogers, John Bates, and Cole Turner for who tight end 3 is going to be, because I believe Zach Ertz and Ben Sinnott will be your tight end 1 and tight end 2 on this team. And the Jets have linebackers, so that will be fun to watch as well. But most importantly, we all know what we're coming to see. We all know what we're going to be looking for updates about. That Jets nasty ass defense versus Cliff Kingsbury's offense and our rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. I want Jaden soaking in some of the air, having some conversations with Aaron Rodgers. I want him talking to Godgers at some point while we're out there practicing with those guys. I want him to see how he practices, see how a vet does it, because practice looks so easy for guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, etc. Look at what one of the GOATs does in practice. Look at the way he handles himself. While Rodgers is a nut, he could be a nut-ass guy sometime. He's one of the GOATs, and that's one of the more impressive 4 quarterbacks you've ever seen throw a football and in preparation. So I want to see Jaden Daniels versus this defense. You start to get used to the guys you practice against back at home at training camp. I want to see what he looks like when the Jets are throwing looks at him, throwing blitzes at him, throwing fake blitzes at him, disguising coverages. How does he react to it? When he makes a mistake, does he add on to the mistake? Does he fix the mistake? Does he learn from it? Does he come back to it and get it right the next time? Jaden Daniels is the number 1, 2, and 3 most important thing we're watching in joint practices and in the preseason games, because our success, while it will be a team collective effort, our success over these next few years are predicated on the development and the success of one Jaden Daniels. And that defense, it's going to take some chess moves to get that ball moving, get that ball rolling, and to make progress. I'm excited to see Jaden Daniels versus that defense, but I just wanted to talk about how excited I am that Washington's going to be playing live football this week. As a fanatic and diehard fan of this team, it's not just preseason to me. This shit means something to me, and I'm excited to see the guys that are fighting for a starting job, fighting for a roster spot on the bubble. I'm excited to see how those guys rise to the occasion when we go up to New Jersey. I'll be having my guy Richie of Roundtable Sports and of the Jets Media YouTube channel on Friday to do a full game preview, and he will be attending Washington's open practice versus the Jets on Thursday. So he will be coming in with all the anecdotes and notes of newsworthy analysis that take place at joint practices this week. Washington is back. Preseason week number 1. Let me know in the comments who you are excited to see play this weekend when Washington travels up to New Jersey. And most importantly, let's send some prayers up to all our players, because we know that MetLife Stadium field surface is worse than FedEx in its prime. So let's hope everybody comes back healthy. That is number 1 on the list. And let's go up there, show out, and look like a respectable football team versus a very solid squad there in New Jersey. That's all I got for right now. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, out.
Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.